All right. So, what is up, YouTube? Yeah, welcome to a new video. Today is a rest day. And yeah, today I wanted to talk about like mistakes I did when I started training, or just generally still. I don't know. So, I kind of wrote it all down, so just don't wonder why I'll always look here. So, um, yeah. So let's start. So first off, for me, it was personally a problem with, or a mistake that I did was kind of like overinform myself with like exercises, diet, and split. Um, it was mostly because kind of in terms of like exercises, I was like kind of 14 or so or 13 at the time where I wanted to go to the gym, but I just couldn't because the gym I wanted to go to, they just first said like you can first go there when you're 15. So I always trained at home the whole time and stuff. And, the time when I then kind of like always, looked for the most best optimal exercises and stuff, and I then went to the gym, um, I don't know, I just overly complicated it. I did unilateral training and stuff, and, that's why I'll get to it now. I'm not saying that you should not do unilateral training when you start lifting because when you do unilateral movements, you can kind of use more motor unit recruitment to train the side, you know, each side, which on paper wouldn't be bad. But the thing is, I did the mistake, for example, by always, for example, training on the right side first. And by doing that, kind of, I've noticed that I've built up like a disbalance or an imbalance, and yeah, and that kind of it's just not cool because that means now that kind of I always have to kind of start like on the weaker side and then do the other side and then like less reps or so. So I would say usually, especially because like a beginner would have the newbie gains, I would just recommend them to just do bilateral movements such as like rows and I don't know, bicep curls just to, or like, tricep push-ons, just to do them with both arms. And just over time, I guess you can then do them like unilaterally. But yeah, that's just kind of my take. Um, so now we'll get to kind of, yeah, to diet. So kind of like bulking and cutting. For me, it was kind of like the thing, I think I've mentioned it before. I think it was in the first video or so, that I've kind of always just had these two extremes. So that I've always either cut it way too hard or bulked a bit too long. So yeah, so basically before I started really training in like a commercial gym, I trained at home as mentioned. And yeah, and there I was like cutting the whole time because before I even started training at home or even came to this idea of lifting, I was kind of this kind of like skinny fat. And yeah, so and then I kind of like did all these kind of like ab workouts and stuff to get like the six pack, and then I've just come to like I just watched like one video or so where a guy then said if you actually want to get visible abs or like a true kind of six pack, you have to be in a calorie deficit to remove overall body fat and thereby revealing your abs. So, and that's kind of when I just tried it and I started to see results and I was thinking, oh, wow, this is really cool and stuff. And that, what basically happened though was then I cut it way too far. And that was kind of like when I was, yeah, 13, 14. So at that time. And basically there I weighed like around 39.4 kg. I cannot like really say it in pounds. I think it's roughly like 90 pounds or so, 95 or so. So incredibly skinny. It was really like not healthy at all. The weighing scale, which had like a body fat percentage calculator, of course, you can like argue they're not accurate and stuff, which is true. But at least for me, it said that I was at 6% body fat. I'm not going to say that it's true, that it's, but like at least if it says 6%, you could at least say I wouldn't be at like 20% body fat. So that was pretty hard. Um, and then of course I then kind of got the idea of like, yeah, come on now. you have to really eat now and build up like mass and stuff. Of course, I then overdid it, of course, and I mean, yeah. Now I'm like I'm 173 centimeters, meaning I think that's like, I don't know, 5'8" or so in feet, and I'm like at around 86 kilograms, so that's kind of like 194, 95 or so pounds. So, yeah, that's why. But as mentioned, I would now, in as a result or in a solution, I would definitely now, like 8 days or so, go on a maintenance or slight cut. So yeah. And now my recommendation for you guys, if you want to like start lifting or with nutrition and stuff, what I would recommend you to do is to, from whatever state you are, to either bulk and cut until you've reached the kind of ideal body fat level, so like 12 to 15%. And from there on, you can basically go on like maintenance calories to kind of still build reasonably good muscle and not to gain either too much fat nor to lose fat too quick and not build muscle up too slow. Yeah. So, and that basically is pretty cool, because if you then would like, if it's then summertime or so, and you'd say, okay, I'd like to just get a bit leaner, you can just go on a slight cut and it won't be like, it won't take forever. You can then, you will just look leaner. And if you say, I want to just bulk up a bit, just gain a bit of mass, slightly, of course, more body fat, you can then just go on a slight bulk. So I think that's pretty much the best thing you can do. So yeah. Now we'll go to the point of overcomplicating training. So in a sense, now I'll just first get to checking all my lifts. So that was basically when I started lifting. I had even like a physical like logbook to like log all my lifts. And yeah, to be honest, this is just my take. I personally say that I wouldn't recommend beginners to do that, because beginners, I would usually say, could not always find not the feeling, I guess, yeah, the feeling of reaching true failure. Because I think for that, I think I would just recommend beginners to just train the first few months, maybe even first year or 2 years even, to train to true failure, to know how it feels to train to failure. And from there on, you can then train with like RAR, so like reps in reserve, to then kind of, train more like optimally, I'd say. And basically, I'll just say, because if you would, for example, directly when you start lifting, train with RIR, with like 1 or 2 RIR, you write in your logbook, it could maybe not be 1 RIR or 2 RIR. It could maybe even be that you're trained 4 to 5 RIR, which at that point, I would say, if you want to really train optimally, wouldn't be optimal, because in the sense you would maybe have not done enough stimulation for hypertrophy, and that could have just caused unnecessary fatigue. So, because basically the last lifts, they are always kind of like the deciding factor if you really want to stimulate muscle growth. But by kind of just training all of these reps before you actually really kind of stimulate them, it's just, and you stop the exercise or the lift, you just caused unnecessary fatigue, and the ratio from stimulating muscle hypertrophy is less than actually stimulating it. So what I want to just say is just to train hard first, for the first kind of beginning, and from there on you can do like 1 RAR or so, because then of course by training with true 1 RAR, you will kind of have a balance of not too much fatigue and still good muscle, like mechanical tension, like in the sense of just having stimulated enough muscle hypertrophy. So yeah, I'll just have to quickly go through the things. Wait, I'll just read through the notes that I've done. It's a bit kind of Oh yeah, true. So for me, basically, how I if I why I still if I log my lifts and stuff. So basically, for me personally, I don't log my lifts, and for me, I can kind of tell you guys why. Um, I try to always train to failure. So that's my take. So because I would definitely say there are times where I actually didn't train to failure. So and by doing that though, by at least trying, I could maybe even be training in one RAR. Meaning that in that sense, I actually even maybe trained optimally. So, and what I just mean is with not logging my lifts, sure, people would say, why wouldn't you log your lifts? I mean, you can just ensure that you're actually making gains, which is true, which is actually valid and so. For me though, personally, I just say that by training hard and if you rest up, like if you rest well enough, if your nutrition is good and you notice that that you're training hard and stuff, you will notice over time that you will do more repetitions and thereby you would have to um, increase the weight. Meaning that by doing that, you basically auto regulate your progressive overload. Meaning, in that sense, you don't even have to log your lifts. I mean, sure, it's just, I guess, by logging your lifts, you can just ensure that you're actually making progress. But for me personally, if I notice that I'm not by every session, but just over time, I'm getting stronger, I'm doing more weight, and physique wise, I'm gaining more muscle, then personally, I have nothing to kind of complain about. So that's kind of all I have to say for now. Um, Tomorrow would be, wait, if I did my weakness day on Monday, my chest day, yes, like 2 days ago, and my leg day yesterday. Ooh, what could I do? Okay, I would say because I did legs, I mean, to be honest, I think everything is well rested, so I think it wouldn't make such a difference what to train. I mean, back, arms, and shoulders are that what are left. So I think I would say maybe something like maybe back would be good to start off. Then to do shoulders on Saturday, and I guess just arms on Sunday. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe my triceps will be slightly fatigued because of shoulders from the shoulder pressing movements, but to be honest, I think it could be definitely worse. So, yeah, I think I would just say I'll hear you tomorrow for back. So have a good one. Hope you at least could learn a bit of something. If I said anything wrong, you can definitely write it in the comments down below. I'm happy and open for critique. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. And yeah, have a good one and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.